A social movement is a loosely organized effort by a large group of people to achieve a particular goal, typically a social or political one. It may be carry out to resist or undo a social change, and it is a group action, and it does involve individuals, organizations, and in sometimes both the individuals as well as the organizations. It have been described as organizational structures and strategies that may empower the oppressed populations to mount effective challenges and resist the most powerful and advantageous. So basically, it represents a method of social change from the bottom within the nation. The study of any social movement is largely concerned with the study of social change. So it is a change in the social structure, dynamics, and social process. So it generally aimed at egalitarian social structure, and it can be defined as a voluntary association of people. Those are engaged in a constant effort to change attitudes or behavior and social relationship in a larger society. Therefore, social movements are a type of group action. The term social movement was introduced in 1850 by the German sociologist Lawrence von Stein in his book History of the French Social Movements from 1789 to the present 1850. It is sometimes argued that the freedom of expression and education and relative economic independence that is prevalent in the modern Western cultures is slightly responsible for the unprecedented growth in the number and the scope of various contemporary social movements. Therefore, modern social movements became possible through education and increased mobility of labor due to the industrialization and urbanization of the 19th century societies. See, a social movement requires sustained collective action over time, and such action is often directed against the state and takes the form of demanding changes in state policy or practice. So, spontaneous, disorganized protest cannot be called a social movement either. And collective action must be marked by some degree of organization. So, this organization may include a leadership and a structure that defines how members relate to each other, make decisions, and carry them out. So, those participating in a social movement also have shared objectives and ideologies. Social movements often arise with the aim of bringing about changes on a public issue, such as ensuring the right of the tribal population to use the forest or the right of displaced people to settlement and compensation. Further, social movements are highly organized and relatively long term collective efforts, and they can be characterized by a specific goal which has a collective significance, ideological interpretation of the collective goal, and a rank of committed workers and a strong leadership. Therefore, social movement is an effort by a group which aim to bring out or resist a change in society. It may be organized or unorganized, and it could be peaceful or violent, and its life is not certain. It may continue for a long period or it may die out soon. So it have its own life cycle which comprises of three stages, that is the origin, then its maturity, and the culmination. Social movements are often categorized on the basis of three criteria, which are the identity of a particular participant, the nature of collectivities, and the territorial anchorage. So, when it comes to identity of a particular participant, that means like a social movement, like tribal movements, Harijan movements, women movements, and peasant movements, or we can say even the student movements. That basically these kind of social movements are particularly associated with one's identity. Similarly, movements are also labeled on the basis of the nature of collectivities against whom they are led. So, example of such movements are anti-Brahminism movement, anti-leftist, anti-Dalits, and so on. The third category, that is the territorial anchorage, which means that these local movements are based on locality, so such as locality in which they originate and operate. For example, we can say the Vidarbha movement, the Telangana movement, Chhattisgarh movement, or the Uttaranchal movement, and so on. However, there apart from these three, some social movements are also named indirectly to point out the goals they pursued. So, such movements are also named after their initial or top leadership, such as the Gandhian movement, or we can say the Ramakrishna movement, or the JP movement. Now let's discuss the major important theories related to the social movements. So firstly, let's discuss about the relative deprivation theory that has been put up by Merton, Runciman and Marx during 1960s. So according to relative deprivation theory, social movements in the society are organized by the deprived and alienated class of people, and the deprivation may be perceived in social, economic, political, or even the educational field. And Merton, Runciman, Marx, etc., are closely related to this theory. Further, the Marxist approach view a social movement as collective action to bring about revolutionary change in society. So its causes is located in the economic structure of society. So the non-Marxist approach criticizes this approach or this theory of relative deprivation because it ignores cultural factors and it overemphasizes on the structural factors, and as it is based on economic factors, so and is reductionist in orientation. The next theory is the collective behavior theory, or we can say the collective action theory. So this was first used by Robert E. Park and employed by Herbert Blumer to refer to social processes and events which do not reflect existing social structures like laws, conventions, or institutions, but which are emerged in a spontaneous way. See, for example, of such collective behavior are religious revival, or we can say a change in popular preferences in toothpaste, or even the Russian Revolution, and even a sudden widespread interest in body piercing. So, since such events occur when social prescriptions are not clear, they exemplify neither conformity nor deviance. The next theory is the value added theory, that is popularly known as the structural strain theory, and it was first proposed by Neil Smeltzer, who referred to the conflict and disorganization at the value, norms, and cultural level. See, he argued that six things were necessary and sufficient for collective behavior to emerge, and that social movements evolved through these relevant stages. So, these are the following stages. These stages are the structural conduciveness, structural strain, generalized belief, precipitating factors, mobilization for action, and failure of social contracts. So, structural conduciveness includes like things that make or allow possible certain behavior, and people must be aware of the problem and have the opportunity to act. When we talk of structural strain, that involves something must strain from society, like for example inequality and injustice, and generalized beliefs. So the participants have to come to an understanding of what the problem is, and the problem should be clearly defined, and this definition widely agreed by the participants. By precipitating factors, it is a kind of spark to ignite the flame, so in other words we can conclude it like a political opportunity. Then the mobilization for action, so people need to become organized in order to lead a social movement. And the last stage is the failure of social contract, or we can say how the authorities react or don't react. So it is also more responsible to make social movements difficult to act. And the next theory is the new social movement theory. So this theory is a 1960 phenomena, and they are characterized by a set of features which distinguish them as quite different from previous social movements, and their novelties due to their appearance in the context of a new social formation. So they are taken to be new because they are exemplary of a new social and political relations, and the features of new social movements which make them novel in terms of their orientation, organization, and style may be listed in a kind of ideal type construction. Therefore, they are highly dependent on the mass media through which appeals are made, protest staged, and image made effective on capturing public imagination and feelings. So basically, the term new social movement theory refers to a plethora of social movements that have come up in various Western societies roughly since the mid 1960s, that is, in a post industrial economy, which departs significantly from the conventional social movement paradigm. These social movements include women movement, ecology movement, and various peace movements, among others. And many of these new social movements tend to emphasize social changes in lifestyle, culture, rather than pushing for specific changes in public policy or economic change. And unlike pressure groups that have a formal organization and members, new social movements consist of an informal, loosely organized social network of supporters rather than members. Now let's discuss the basic causes of a social movement. See, social movements do not just result from nowhere. It is the kind of social unrest which gives rise to a social movement. So let's discuss the three majorly causes that are behind the social movements. Firstly, the cultural drifts. So the society is undergoing constant changes, and the values and behavior are changing in all societies. So in the course of culture drift, most of the people develop new ideas, and to get these ideas operative, they organize a social movement. So, for example, the development of democratic society, the emancipation of women, the spread of mass education, the removal of untouchability, and even the equality of opportunity for both the sexes, and the growth of secularism are all the examples of cultural drifts. The next cause is social disorganization. So, changing society experiences disorganization to some extent. And because changes in different parts of society do not take place simultaneously, for example, industrialization has brought urbanization, like which has in turn caused numerous social problems. So, social disorganizations brings confusion and uncertainty, and the individual become rootless. So, they feel isolated from the society, and this situation leads to emergence of social movements. Another cause that we can conclude for the cause of social movement is that when a group feel that injustice has been done to them, so they become frustrated and alienated, and such feeling of injustice provides a fertile soil for social movements, and therefore demand for social justice is also a cause for generating social movements.